So last week, Jeff Flake had urged Congress and the president to basically allow Kavanaugh to be looked into by the FBI, to do that FBI investigation, and to basically put a halt on the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh for about a week. So, look, it's only a week, and it's actually pretty limited in scope. I'll get to the details on that in another video. But when asked about, hey, if this is possible, right? Because what you did is basically you disrupted a partisan vote, which would have been a gigantic victory for the GOP and for Donald Trump. Would you be able to do that if you weren't running for re-election? And of course, every time Flake is asked this question, when it comes to, can you stand up to Donald Trump now that you're not running for re-election? The answer is always like, no, I cannot stand up to Trump. I can't actually go against the GOP unless I'm not running for office, which is the only reason that I actually have courage, if you can call it that. But I'm going to let him answer that question being asked by CBS's Scott Pelley. Let's take a look.
Senator Flake, you've announced that you're not running for re-election, and I wonder, could you have done this if you were running for re-election?
No, not a chance.
Not a chance?
No.
Because politics has become too sharp, too partisan?
Yeah, there's no value to reaching across the aisle. There's no currency for that anymore. There's no incentive.
So, again, what Jeff Flake says is absolutely correct, right? Especially in this environment. So there's no value in reaching across the aisle. Yeah, we already know that. And here's the thing. This is how the modern Republican Party works. See, the Democrats haven't caught up to this yet, and I'll get to them in a second. But the way the Republican Party works nowadays is that you have a lot of extremists that are in power that say, what? Reach across the aisle? Are you mad? No, I'm going to lose my seat. If I make deals with Democrats that might actually help my constituents as well and actually does the right thing, well then, look, I'm going to get ousted because right now the tiny base of people that are my constituents are rabid. They have been fed a steady diet of hate and propaganda from a lot of right-wing media. You've got your Breitbart, you've got your Daily Wire, you've got Fox News, obviously, which is feeding them nothing but propaganda and misinformation. And it riles these people up. And so when you even attempt to work with a Democrat on anything, no, you can't do it. They're the devil. They're the enemy. We must destroy them. Absolutely. We can't do anything. And on the things that they actually can work together on, that's to benefit the donors. And so that, of course, brings me to the Democrats. And the Democrats, look, again, they play nicey nice with the Republicans. And look, again, on things like that benefit donors, they always work with Republicans. There's always seems to be that bipartisanship, right? But on things that would help both Democratic voters and Republican voters, things that actually help support in the middle class, Democrats like, well, let's play nice with Republicans. Let's play patty cakes and hope that the Republicans turn around and actually do the right thing and make sure that people have health care. No, you can't do that. The Republicans are literally playing with guns. Well, not literally, I should say. They're playing with guns, and Democrats, they bring like a fish or boy, that's a really, really bad example. But they bring like a wet noodle to a gunfight. I don't know why I said fish. They don't fight. They don't fight at all unless, of course, it's something to do with the donors. Then, of course, as I said before, they bring all the bipartisanship that they can. But that's really the purpose of showing this, right? Because Jeff Flake is a great example of, hey, man, look, yeah, when I'm running for re-election, of course I'm going to do everything that Trump says. because the rest of the Republican Party has no spine. Now, I'm also not saying that Jeff Flake has a spine. He does not. Jeff Flake is almost just as cowardly as the rest, but he's slightly less cowardly and slightly less awful. Why? Because he's leaving Congress. But here's the thing about Flake. He votes in favor of Republican priorities that help the donors. Why? Because he's going to get a job as soon as he gets out of office in order, or I should say he's going to get a job with those donors. And so while he's still in office, he's going to serve the donors even if he says nice things. And that is the thing that frustrates me so much about Jeff Flake. He says the right things. He goes on flowery speeches about, what we need civility. We need bipartisanship. But in the end, he votes for almost every single partisan measure. And again, this is an FBI investigation. This has been hobbled by the White House. So it actually hasn't been any good. And again, I will explain how this has been hobbled by the White House and how this is actually a sham investigation. But nonetheless, Jeff Flake is like being hailed as, the last civil person, the last civil Republican in office now because he's leaving office. Again, that shows you the truth about the Republicans, how they are vicious. They're as vicious as their base is. And sometimes they're only doing it so they can continue to be elected and reelected. And sometimes they do that, in the case of Lindsey Graham, because they're actually fucking vicious. And that's the big problem that I have with our political system. The right continues to pander to donors and to a smaller and smaller group of incredibly vicious, hateful people. And the Democrats can't seem to get it through their thick heads that, hey, you know what? Maybe if I actually do populism and if I actually fight, if I'm strong, then maybe we'll actually win and get good policy. And not just policy that helps the donors. So again, look, Jeff Flake, honest, of course honest about this, because he knows that he's going to go off and he's going to get a great job for one of the corporations, one of his corporate masters that he has served dutifully while in office. And look, to be honest, to go back, Flake is one of those people who I think is, he wants to make money. That is fairly obvious. There's a lot of people that go into office because they want to make money, because they want to, after they serve, get a great position in the private sector. He's actually not one of the vicious people that I'm talking about. Again, contrast him with Lindsey Graham, who is a vicious person, who is a terrible person. So, and that's why I think he is leaving. Look, I got a job lined up, and then I don't have to cater to these horrible people anymore in order to keep my job. And so I think that's the biggest lesson that I would take from the tale of Jeff Flake. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.